CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an update on last night's intense firefight in Tilsonberg. Damage is expected to reach well into the millions after the flames ripped through an automotive supplier. Sean Irvin reports.
Flames rose into the sky as fire raged at an industrial facility in Tilsonberg's south end. The blaze broke out around 8:30 at Marwood International Plant number 3 on Town Line Road. It's one of several sites the automotive supplier operates in the community. Nearby resident Kevin Ayers was among the first outside of the plant to notice the fire.
Flames and smoke. It was just, all you could see is flames. And the whole front of the building was all flames.
Initially, Tilsonberg crews were able to battle the fire from the inside of the plant. But within 15 minutes, they were forced to retreat and stage outside.
Staff on site had tried to control it with fire extinguishers, but it had gotten too big too quickly. They notified 911.
Firefighters from as far away as Ingersoll joined the fight, which included aerial units and upwards of 45 firefighters. Firefighters remained on scene well into the morning hours as they looked to contain the blaze. A cause has already been determined.
The crews that were there was an indication that the fire had started in a mechanical area. It was right next to where some stored product was ready for shipping. And it appears that the fire had spread to that stored product.
Any further investigation is expected to prove challenging as a portion of the building's roof caved in.
The area of origin is very unsafe and unstable, so the structure itself is highly compromised in the area of origin.
Thankfully, firefighters prevented flames from spreading to the main production area. CTV News attempted to speak to Marwood representatives in person and over the phone about the status of production and the impact on employees. We did not receive a response. Still, with damage reaching into the millions, it will be some time before full production resumes.
That doesn't include the time frame for rebuild and any lost productivity.
It was crazy. I'm just lucky and thankful that nobody was injured.
Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Premier Doug Ford is expected to hold a news conference tomorrow morning addressing speed cameras. He'll do so after a Toronto newspaper reported the Premier is looking at legislative options to outlaw the neighborhood safety measure. With more on the reaction here in London, here's Rita Ismail.
This is one of 7 automated speed enforcement cameras operating across the city of London.
Before the camera, we always had people speeding down the street here off Heron Street. And even though we have a school here.
In 2019, Ford cleared the way for municipalities to install speed cameras on local roads. Now he has taken a U-turn, calling them
nothing but a tax grab.
This, even though data from police has shown the cameras are effective in deterring drivers from speeding near school zones.
We want to ensure that that they are not revenue-generating cameras. That is not the intent of automated speed enforcement cameras. They need to be placed where there is evidence to support their use, and that evidence generally comes through the analysis of data.
Last year, speed enforcement cameras like this one here on Fallon's Lane brought in about $500,000 for the City of London. However, the city says it only saw about $105,000 of that because there are costs associated with running the program, and the province gets a share of that as well.
The city doesn't get all of this money back. We don't spend it in London on whatever we want. Again, I think this is something the Premier could regulate. Say that all revenue goes back into road improvements. That would be fine. That's what we're doing in London.
Lewis says he understands why the Premier wants to remove the cameras, but adds that it's not the answer.
There have been some bad actors in other municipalities designating everything as community safety zones to let these cameras go everywhere when the original intent was school zones. But the province can fix this. They don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Regulate through the Ontario regulations, specifically limit them to school zone.
The city says the cameras are leased and maintained by an outside contractor, and it has no plans to add more cameras at this time. This past Monday, at a press conference in Russell, Ontario, Ford hinted at new money to encourage drivers to slow down.
We're going to be giving municipalities across the province a lot of money to put in all sorts of street calming methods, from little turnabouts, from speed bumps to flashing signs.
Premier Ford, along with the Minister of Transportation, are scheduled to provide remarks regarding speed cameras tomorrow morning in Vaughan. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
London police say they've laid charges in an apparent street racing investigation. According to London police, officers impounded this vehicle after witnessing two drivers speed along Colonel Talbot just north of the 402. Police say about 50 people were out of their cars watching the drivers race. They say they were able to take down one of the license plates from a vehicle involved and tracked it down the next day and laid several charges against a 21-year-old. An update today on the City of London's Hubs strategy on homelessness. Researchers are touting the program's early success, but as Daryl Newcomb reports, the demand for these services is only increasing.
System outcomes and
Western University researchers unveiling their evaluation of London's health and homelessness whole-of-community system response, summarizing early outcomes at the 2 low-barrier service hubs and 93 supportive housing units for homeless Londoners. Since the strategy began, more than 100 people have been served at the Youth Hub and the Indigenous-led Hub, over 40 of whom have achieved stable housing.
The types of interventions that we've built are working, and we're helping inform provincial decisions around models of care.
We've seen a 20% decrease in deaths despite the increases in homelessness. That, to me, is a hugely important statistic. But there's also costs, right? I mean, that is an important consideration as well.
The report details how some participants significantly decreased their costly interactions with emergency rooms, first responders, and the justice system. Despite the report's finding that the whole-of-community response to homelessness is effective at getting participants into stabilized housing, other data suggests that London's homelessness crisis continues to get worse. Since 2022, homelessness in London has grown by 19%, although the mayor points to the provincial average of 25%.
Our population is expanding faster than others. Our rate of homelessness is going up, but at a pace that is less than what others are seeing across the province. So we would be in a much worse situation today if we had done nothing.
Both hubs are experiencing wait lists, and the report warns of, quote, a workforce stretched thin by distress, exhaustion, and chronic underfunding. The future of London's 2 hubs remains uncertain, given they've yet to secure long-term operating funds from the province. And the mayor says this about the municipality potentially picking up the tab.
Ideally, that won't happen. It'll be a discussion the council will have to have if we get to that point. But what we have here is we have moved forward with a data measurement framework that provides a really, really solid case for provincial investment in these services.
This problem isn't going to go away. So stopping what we're doing is not going to solve the problem.
The evaluation of London's homelessness strategy will be considered by the Community and Protective Services Committee September 29th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
St. Thomas police say they've laid multiple charges after a violent home invasion this week. According to police, a 55-year-old suspect forced their way into a home on Elm Street early Tuesday morning, assaulting the person who lived there. Police say they responded to 911 calls, arriving to a vacant home that had been damaged. They say they found the victim shortly after with significant injuries. Police say the suspect was located with the help of authorities in North Bay, leading to an arrest. To the manslaughter trial at the London courthouse, where the mother of the toddler who died said she hoped what killed her son was not criminal. With more on her 5th day of testimony today, here's Nick Paparella.
While testifying, Roseanne Vanderweel has always maintained that she wants to find out what caused the death of her 15-month-old son, Nathaniel McClellan. The toddler died from a head injury in October of 2015 after spending the morning at the house of his babysitter, 46-year-old Megan Van Hoof, who lived in Strathroy. Vanderweel told the court, "I know I dropped off a healthy child." She continued, "I don't know how things unfolded. That's why we are here." The court has heard that at least one doctor told her it could have been an assault, and she said, "I wanted to be open that this was an accident. I didn't want something nefarious to have happened to my child." She went on, "I heard the medical evidence and there was no explanation, so that led me to believe that it was an assault." 6 years after the child's death, provincial police would charge Van Hoof, and she has pled not guilty to manslaughter. This was Van de Wiel's 5th day on the stand and her 4th under cross-examination from defense lawyer Jeff Snow. At the beginning of the day, Justice Michael Carnegie questioned the slow pace and whether it was necessary. The trial, which was slated to last 4 weeks, is now expected to take much longer. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Oxford County officials announced today a recent cyber attack may have compromised current and former employee information. Through a statement, they say a forensic investigation is still working on figuring out the extent of the exposure. Former employees will be notified by a letter to their last known address. If information from non-employees is exposed, they will also be notified. St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital is expanding its neonatal care program. Anyone at 32 weeks gestation or later can now deliver their child at the hospital. Previously, they had to travel to London or other cities if the baby arrived too early. A new report suggests brain injuries linked to sports are more common than previously thought. However, as John Musselman reports, a Canadian law introduced in recent years is making a difference.
The key finding in this study shows that sports and recreational brain injuries are more prevalent than previously thought. The data shows that about 37% of brain injuries reported between 2010 and 2019 in Ontario hospitals were related to sports and recreational activities. That's more than triple the previous estimate of 12%. The positive news is that brain injuries dropped nearly 10% following the introduction of Rowan's Law. It was named in honor of Ottawa teen rugby player Rowan Stringer, who died from second impact syndrome in 2013.
If there's a player who's suspected of having a brain injury, you need to remove that player from play immediately and make sure that they're checked by a healthcare professional before they return. And this was the information that would have saved Rowan Stringer's life.
Dr. Jesse Young is a researcher with CAMH and the lead author of this study.
I think my biggest surprise was how prevalent sports and recreation-related traumatic brain injury is, particularly because we're looking at hospital-treated traumatic brain injury. So if you think about the total burden, it's likely much larger than what we were able to observe in the study, because we only observed those who consider it or have symptoms that prompt them to seek care. And we know that many people who have traumatic brain injury, whether it's sports related or otherwise, don't actually seek care for those symptoms.
Ontario has absolutely been the leader in Canada on this. And at the recent FPT meeting in August, Minister Lumsden stood up and asked the other provinces to think about adopting Rowan's Law.
The legislation sets out a framework for how parents, coaches, trainers, and athletes should respond if a brain injury is suspected during sports or recreational activities. John Musselman, CTV News.
Plenty of reaction in the local football community to the rule changes announced this week coming for the CFL. As Brent Lail reports, they caught many off guard, from the pros right down to the grassroots game.
I think the biggest question a lot of people have is, like, logistically, how is it going to work? London Beefeaters head coach Matt Snyder is one of many involved in amateur football, wondering how the new CFL changes will impact their league. At our level is nobody owns their own fields. Everybody's renting a field from a city or a university. So they say we're going to play by these new rules, and our city owner says we're not changing the fields. Like, what do we do at that point?
Our lines are all stitched in. So it's like, we got another 8 years or 10 years left on this field. So it's not easy to change those fields.
Mustangs head coach Greg Marshall, who won a Grey Cup and coached in the CFL, is taking a wait-and-see approach. He's in favor of moving the goalposts and taking timing out of the referee's hands, but hates the idea of a 100-yard field. Some kickers have spoken out against moving the posts and altering the Rouge rules, likely meaning less field goals.
Take a 55-yard field goal, you're at the lineup at the 32. So I think it adds a bit of a challenge for the kickers, but it's also a challenge that I'm kind of looking forward to. I think we'll see a lot more long-range kicks and a lot more strategy.
You're going to go for it more on third down and try to score. You're not going to punt when you're on your 30, so you'll take more chances, which is more offense, is what people want to see.
Ultimately, most believe amateur football will adapt the rule changes, but not alter the fields.
I could see a situation where amateur football below the CFL says we're going to continue playing status quo, and then as guys move to the CFL, they'll adapt to the new rules. And I think there's probably no issue with that. It saves a lot of people money, and it becomes just a nuance of the CFL.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
A major curling competition is coming to Bruce County next year. Port Elgin will host the 3-day competition, which will include a Battle of the Sexes skins game between Brad Jacobs and Rachel Holman, plus a doubles match and a fantasy curling camp. Organizers say on top of the high-level athletes taking part, the event is also about raising money to support local curling clubs.
And every curling club you go to, they all have some type of an infrastructural need, be it a roof, a chiller, a dehumidifier. So we thought, what can we do in the way of an event where we could raise funds and spread the rewards amongst those different curling clubs?
The battle is scheduled for September 25th to the 27th next year at the Port Elgin Curling Club. Tickets are expected to go on sale tomorrow. Later on CTV News, counting down to a deep space mission. An update from London's own astronaut, Jeremy Hansen, ahead of his journey to the moon.
5K a day is back on 97.5 Virgin Radio. Listen to Jeff KP and Backstage Ben for your chance to win $5,000
every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
Canada's main stock index finished in negative territory today, weighed down by the financial sector. The TSX is down 59 points. In New York, the Dow dropped 172. The Nasdaq fell 76. The Canadian dollar down 1/3 cent. And on commodity markets, gold lost almost $48 an ounce. Oil gained almost $1.60 a barrel. The Ukrainian president asked for more support from United Nations members today to keep the Russian invasion at bay. That message a day after an unexpected U-turn from the American president, who said he now believes Ukraine can win the war. With the latest from UN headquarters in New York, here's Judy Trent.
We are now living through the most destructive arms race in human history.
Even as Ukraine's president warned about the escalating dangers of unchecked AI-controlled drones, Vladimir Zelensky said the less advanced version of the weapons was enabling his country to hold back Moscow's might.
Ukraine doesn't have the big fat missiles dictators love to show off in parades, but we do have drones that can fly up to 2,000-3,000 kilometers.
Zelensky cited success in destroying Russian assets in the Black Sea and key infrastructure. His comments come as the American president takes a harsher tone toward the Kremlin. In the past week, Russian drones and fighter jets have flown into the airspace of Poland and Estonia, NATO members.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do. After Tuesday's face-to-face, Donald Trump made a remarkable U-turn. He posted on social media that after getting to understand the Ukraine-Russia military-economic situation, he now believes Ukraine can win back all of its territory. Previously, Trump had said ending the war would require Ukraine giving up territory it had lost. The prime minister said that Vladimir Putin had proven he could not be trusted.
The president, however, has made very sincere and multiple efforts to try to establish peace. He has used his long-standing relationship with President Putin in those efforts to try to establish peace. Putin has failed on every occasion, every opportunity.
Trump has called on nations to put secondary sanctions on countries that buy Russian oil. Prime Minister Mark Carney said G7 countries are discussing such economic measures to put additional pressure on Putin to end the war. Judy Trent, CTV News, New York.
Good evening. Fog developing overnight. We've had some heavy rainfall in parts of the region and waking up tomorrow morning to overcast conditions. The main rain will come to an end overnight and the probability drops down to about a 30% chance. Thanks, Chris and Julie from St. Thomas for this photo of Rocket on the beach. 16 to 17 degrees. Heading out the door tomorrow morning. It'll be warm and muggy. Stay with us. I'll have all your local forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie Anderson is with me tonight after some time off. Welcome back. Julie, you are back. It's been a bit rainy to start this week, cloudy still, but you are arriving for a beautiful weekend, it sounds like.
I am. I'm setting up just a gorgeous forecast. We still have some cloud to contend with tomorrow, with temperatures on the warm side. And over the next 7, well above average. We are in for an absolutely awesome autumn weekend. Temperature high today coming in the low 20s, although the air mass was thick. It was muggy through the afternoon. Rounds of scattered showers and a few thunderstorms with some heavier pockets of rain. Our overnight low last night dipping down between about 16 and 17 degrees. Basically a repeat tonight. Watch for some fog overnight and early tomorrow morning. 15 degrees as we head to parts of Midwestern Ontario overnight, so we hold on to the warmth. We do have this stationary boundary that's just off to the south and is generating these rounds of scattered showers and some thunderstorms, but that exits off to the east overnight as well as the upper trough. So the upper air support will move to eastern Canada as well as the low pressure system, and you can start to see the breaks in the cloud cover. Now through the day, still about a 30% chance of showers, although the coverage will be much less tomorrow than it was today. So we'll be dealing with not a whole lot in the way of heavy rainfall, but just a chance for a few scattered showers as we move through the afternoon. But if you look at the forecast model, it starts to show signs of the cloud cover breaking up, and that will set the stage for high pressure to build in. The air mass will dry out in the lower levels and we're back into sunshine. So likely by about 2 to 3 o'clock, we'll start to see some peaks of sunshine. It'll be quite warm through the day. Again, we'll be talking about a bit of a humidex in the afternoon, but temperatures are set to climb as we head toward the weekend. Daytime highs across the region tomorrow, anywhere from 19 to 22 degrees. And as we head to Chatham and Windsor, about 23. So looking good for tomorrow afternoon in terms of our temperature. We deal with the cloud cover through the early part of the day, but a very low probability of showers. Friday, full sunshine, back up to 24 degrees. The weekend is setting up to be an awesome one across the region. Saturday and Sunday, 25 to 26. So fall arrives with some beautiful weather. Gorgeous conditions this weekend. Mainly sunny Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. An extended period of sunshine and gorgeous weather across the region. Overnight lows anywhere from 11 to 12 degrees. The same pattern right across Midwestern Ontario. Your probability drops from a 60% chance tonight to about a 30% chance overnight, and that will take us right through your Thursday. There'll be a few very light spotty showers, but not an all-day rain. Lots of cloud cover early in the day, but peaks of sunshine as we head towards sunset. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, daytime highs from 24 close to 25 degrees. It's going to be a nice hot weekend, still feeling like summer across the region, although we officially welcomed fall. This weekend is setting up to be a win right across the area. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. Municipal officials in Windsor are trying to get drivers to their destination sooner. How so? By adopting the zipper merge, which, as Chris Campbell reports, has proven easier said than done.
The city's infrastructure department says too many drivers merge too early, believing it's the polite thing to do. But studies show that causes longer lineups, sudden lane changes, and more frustration.
The need is quite simple. If you want to save time and reduce your travel time, you zipper merge.
In a media release, city engineer David Simpson says using the zipper merge isn't just smarter, it's safer. Simpson said when drivers wait until the designated merge point and alternate like teeth in a zipper, traffic flows more efficiently and everyone gets where they're going faster.
Everyone, please be courteous, please be Canadian, and please zipper merge.
Ward 7 Councillor Angelo Marignani shares that sentiment. We joined him for a drive through a construction zone to test the zipper merge.
And we're going to drive right up to the front, and let's see if courteous drivers allow for the merge. Now, right at the point of the merge, you pull in. But it's being courteous, you know, just, you're not, I understand you want to get in the lane and build and stay back, but what happens is, confusion happens at the point of the bottleneck, and that confusion actually slows down the flow in comparison to if everyone were to follow that simple zipper merge. Yeah.
In there.
There we go.
We're in the merge.
That was pretty painless right there.
Yeah.
Really. But not everyone is convinced.
It's a little nerve-wracking. You don't want to get hit, so you know it's your turn to go, but you're watching other people, making sure that they're not going to run into you.
And it's sad because things would go so much quicker if people just in and out, done.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't like it because somebody's going in front of them, right? So they're waiting in line. It's like everybody wait in line, but I think it's better for moving traffic. But people get mad when you go by them, so.
The city says the zipper merge can reduce backups by up to 40% while improving safety and fairness on the road.
And I've spoken with our traffic engineers, and we will be employing signage to indicate to people that the zipper merge is coming.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Finally tonight, an update from the crew preparing for a historic space mission, including local astronaut Jeremy Hansen. He's one of 4 people heading for the moon next year, becoming the first Canadian to venture into deep space. Lauren Stallone reports.
If all goes to plan, 4 astronauts will soon blast off on a mission that's been a long time coming, a return to the moon.
Artemis 2 is about much more than just going back to the moon. It is about the pursuit of excellence.
London-born astronaut Jeremy Hansen addressed Canadians at NASA's Artemis 2 mission news conference Wednesday morning.
You should also be extraordinarily proud that we are represented in the Artemis program. And it wasn't a gift. You earned it.
Hansen says he is hopeful the mission will inspire not just Canadians, but people around the world.
You see this concrete example of what humanity can do, this extraordinary thing, when we set big goals and we work together to achieve them.
Hansen may be the first Canadian heading into deep space, but for now his focus is making sure everything goes according to plan.
We have this great group of simulation trainers who come up with these sort of evil tests for us. And we'll be sitting in the sim, all our mission controllers are in mission control, and then stuff will just start breaking.
It is clear Hansen has made a big impression on his crewmates.
Jeremy is well, it's tough to sit here and talk about your crewmates when you haven't really talked about it before, but he's the creative one on the crew. There's nothing that he doesn't just think about.
The mission is set to take off early next year. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.